G'day folks and welcome to the Vookcast, Australia's Nintendo podcast. My name's Oliver Brandt and in this episode I'm joined by Michael Goncalves,
Hey, Tim.
Angelo Valdivia,
Hey, Paisanos.
and Luke Henderson.
Hello there.
We're going to jump straight into it with the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct because, as is tradition with this show, literally like moments after we did the last episode, a direct was announced and then took place. So, Donkey Kong Bananza. They showed it off. They officially revealed Pauline, who was previously known as Odd Rock and was leaked by Nintendo Korea literally the day that we found out about Donkey Kong Bananza.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they didn't leak the character name, but they leaked that Odd Rock was a small female.
It was obviously Pauline too.
I do wonder how long Pauline is Odd Rock in the game, because like it looks like she's Odd Rock for maybe like 5 seconds, and I'm like, that's interesting and sort of pointless.
I think people on the internet were like trying to figure it out, and it looks like because you're in front of like an elder, it looks like it's like the end of like the first
chapter, yeah,
the first floor kind of thing, yeah. And then you would like, I guess, unlock the first Bonanza form as well, which we'll talk about in a second. They did reveal some new enemies. They were all Kongs, which was kind of weird and surprising. There was Grumpy Kong, Void Kong, and Poppy Kong, and they seem fine.
I don't know if you guys have watched Death Becomes Her, but Poppy Kong looks like she has the vial from Death Becomes Her, like holding it in her hand. I'm like, that's weird.
I loved that film when I was a kid.
It's such a good film.
But yeah, they also revealed Bonanza forms, which is just Donkey Kong powering up. So there's Kong Bonanza, which is a powered up ape, so he can destroy a lot more things, and do more damage when he is in combat and shit like that. There's Zebra Bonanza, which runs really fast and can run across water, as we know zebras can.
Obviously.
And Ostrich Bonanza, which can sort of fly and drop egg bombs in what just straight up is Banjo-Kazooie gameplay. There's a whole bunch of outfits that you can get with coins, and they do actually impact gameplay as well. So like if you wear a thick coat, you stay cold. If you're wearing like you stay warm rather in cold places. If you wear like a swimming outfit, you can swim faster. Like there's all sorts of stuff like that. We saw that Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, and Rambi are all in the game. We haven't seen any evidence of K. Rool yet, but I imagine he's there. There's also a mode called DK Artist, which you use mouse controls to sculpt with rock, which looks quite fun. And there's a new DK and Pauline amiibo, which looks very nice. And if you're in the US, it's very expensive because of the tariffs.
Which made me laugh so hard. I think the amiibo's $30 here for us, $29.95. The US price when converted to Australian ends up being like $52 or something.
Yeah, it's rough. So Donkey Kong Bonanza, what do we think? Before this, like, I was like interested in it. I was probably going to get it, but like I wasn't super excited about it. After watching the direct, it is like my most anticipated game of the year. It looks so good, and so much bigger than I thought it would be. It's kind of wild. But yeah, what do we think of it?
I'm similar. Like I thought it looked great when that was first revealed, but after watching it, I was like, yeah, this actually looks really, really good, and I think I'm going to enjoy it heaps. I don't know if it's my most anticipated game, but I also don't think I have one, period, so it's fine. But I think it looks awesome. Like, I think the game's going to be super fun to play, and the Bonanza stuff looks really interesting to work with. I'm intrigued to see...
Cursed.
Yeah.
DK as a Zebra hybrid is cursed.
And... the destructibility of the terrain is going to be fun to play with, I think. We'll see how far that goes.
I think something that we don't have in the notes here is that like there's like Breath of the Wild style shrines where you like go in and like do like little challenges and stuff, and some of those have like 2D sections that are like just basically an old like a classic Donkey Kong style level.
I would put them more. If you remember in Super Mario Sunshine, you'd have those levels where you didn't have the flood. You had to sort of progress on spinning blocks, and more like that. They're kind of a mix, I suppose, of the shrines from Zelda and that. But because I played a few of those at the preview event, and they're fine. They're good challenges. Like the one of them I did was really easy. It was just like busting through a wall in like 20 seconds or something. And the other one required a whole bunch of combat. So there's good variety in them, I suppose.
Because this is the Mario team, right? Or the Mario Odyssey team or whatever. That's what I've been hearing. Is that correct?
We don't know for sure yet.
Okay.
Nintendo was always weird about that, but it looks like it is for sure.
Yeah, I'm super keen for this game. I was when it was first revealed. A lot of people kind of like, oh, a Donkey Kong game, like along the release of the Switch 2 rather than a Mario game. Like, but when that was announced, I was actually kind of keen because we haven't seen, you know, a 3D adventure Donkey Kong game in a very long time, and we haven't seen a good one at all yet. So I'm very, very keen on this one. But the thing that confuses me is the whole Pauline thing, like being a big
the
Mario.
The lore ramifications are wild.
Yeah,
I love that everyone immediately was like, "But the lore," and I'm just like, "God, are we for real, guys?"
I mean, I kind of am. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm a big DK94 mark, and you know, Donkey Kong is kidnapping Pauline in that one. He's kidnapping her. We don't know what his intentions are, but they can't be good if he's constantly snatching her, and she's screaming, "Help me!" in every level. So, but here they're like hanging out just fine, and like turns out she was a rock, and then she's a person. And now she's just hanging out on his shoulder while he does like, you know, cool rock snowboarding stuff. I have no idea what the implications of this game will be on the wider Donkey Kong Pauline lore. So
I hope we get an official Donkey Kong timeline from Nintendo.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I suspect that they're just like, this is a fresh start, right? Like they do not give a shit about what happened in the past, and that this is just like an origin story for DK and Pauline. Unrelated to that.
Well, it was always considered that like Cranky Kong was that Donkey Kong from the OG Donkey Kong game. But then he's old, and then, you know, the Donkey Kong that we know since Donkey Kong Country is the one that's always been like lore appropriate, in modern Mario games.
Well,
like, Cranky Kong is in this game,
so may not be DK Jr., the current Donkey Kong. It's confusing because in multiple instances they've said that Donkey Kong Jr. is current Donkey Kong's dad, but then they've also said that he is Donkey Kong Jr. So it's like he could be the son of Cranky Kong or the grandson of Cranky Kong. Impossible to say. Either way,
I think it's sort of like the Emperor from Foundation, where like he's just constantly cloned, and there's always a young one, a governing one, and an old one at all times.
That is such a deep cut, kind of. I love that.
No, like I think Nintendo doesn't care as much about timelines and lore as the people who play Nintendo games do. Like, they only put together that fucking Zelda timeline because people kept on asking them and pestering them constantly about the Zelda timeline. And then basically every game since then has just been like, nah, fuck the timeline. We're just going to put this as its own thing. Which is very funny.
But, I appreciate that. It's just that the only thing, the reason why it bugs me is because it's just, for 40 years, we've just assumed that like Donkey Kong has just been trying to kidnap Pauline, but or had nefarious reasons to kidnap Pauline, but now they're hanging out and she's a kid. So it's just like, what? It's kind of like the Obi-Wan series all over again. Like, it turns out Obi-Wan left Tatooine and he was hanging out with Princess Leia when she was a kid. We're just like, what is happening?
And it turns out the only reason Obi-Wan and Darth Vader didn't fight was a small amount of fire between them, and I'm like, okay. That was a dumb. Sorry, I hate that fucking scene so much. It's so stupid.
I don't like the series at all, so I'm with you. But like, regardless of all of that, it looks great. I'm super keen. I'm keen to meet more like ridiculous Kongs. Sounds great. Let's do it.
Can we talk about the game size as well? I don't think it's in the article, but it's like 8.8 gigs. It's wildly small.
Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, like, when you consider, like, I don't know, Nintendo is like really, really good at like making these really small games that are really large games. And we don't really know how they do. Like, a lot of that is through like,
I think it's called Witchcraft.
Design the game. I mean, yeah, but like they use, very bespoke compression things as well. Like, but like part of it is just like the art style that they choose is like really easy to convert into like like basic textures with like shaders, which are obviously like a whole lot smaller than like having super high res 4K textures and shit like that. So, yeah, but like Tears of the Kingdom was like a relatively small file size compared to what the game was, but like that was because a lot of the like lighting and a whole bunch of shit in that game was just part of the physics engine. So once they had the physics engine in there, like that was it. So yeah, Nintendo was like really, really good at that. But like I was looking at it and it's like, compare this, right, to a game that I suspect will be compared to this a decent amount, which is Astrobot. And Astrobot is like fucking 80 gigs. Like it's a huge game. So
That's because of all the
Yeah,
IP they have in that game.
Also,
I
I want
argue that the
everyone
game's
to
also got like a lot more going on in it. Like texture-wise, sound-wise, there's a lot of different music in there. And generally, like a lot of game file sizes are often taken up by audio. Granted, there's not really any dialogue or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
like,
well, so that's the thing, right? Is like we've already seen more dialogue in DK than we did in the entirety of Astrobot. So
sure. But like Nintendo's
And,
always
like-
been really good at heavily stylizing their games, which, just to your point, is the reason why like they're able to compress a lot of their their art files and things like their textures and stuff. Because games aren't heavily textured; they're just like really stylistically drawn, so they're able to just reuse a lot of textures and switch things up by using various shaders and stuff, as you said. So
yeah, it's really fascinating. Just like the different approaches that different companies take to get to, I mean, kind of similar results. Yeah, I'm super interested in this. I do think it is as much a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie as it is to any other Donkey Kong game. Because I mean that's what it looks like. You
I mean,
are
they're giant
big,
ass
bulky
rocks
dude
with eyes on them. So
yeah, but like it's also like you have a companion that sits on your back the entire game, right? And you can also transform into various animals, and it's like this is sounding a lot like Banjo-Kazooie.
you can punch the skin off things and destroy the skeleton, just like Banjo-Kazooie.
But yeah, I mean, like it has a lot of those vibes. It's not going to be a 1-to-1, but I think it is. I don't know.
the only thing
It feels very Banjo-Kazooie-ish.
the only thing I wish that had come out of that direct is they dropped a demo for the game. There's demos
Yeah.
out because we've seen them at the retail kiosks in other parts of the world. I think a demo for this one would convince those on the fence. Because again, like the demo that I played was a custom demo because there's sections. So as you progress down, you drop down like 10 layers of the world at once. And that's, layer 100, layer 110, 120, 130, and all that. And the different layers are the different levels. And I was down to layer 150 or something in the demo, in the build that I had, and Odd Rock was still there, not Pauline. So, and we've seen in the direct, she was out of her rock form at that point. So, I think it's one of those things where it would be great if they put that out there for people to try it. I just think they should be doing more demos for their games.
I'm curious to find out
Yeah.
why Pauline doesn't have shoes. That kind of bothers me in the game. It's just
I mean, Donkey Kong doesn't have shoes either.
yeah,
What's
but
the problem?
he's a primate and they have leathery feet, so like they're designed to be walking around outside. Whereas she's a female human, presumably. So
I mean,
be
her
rather
dress is
unsafe, huh?
also like torn up, so like maybe it's
Yeah.
just.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm playing Claire Obscure as well, and there's a character in there who also doesn't wear shoes, and I'm like, why do we have feety women this year? What is going on? Like, is that just like the new thing that we're doing today?
Tarantino has his hand
Fucking-
in all game production, so
Yeah, that's what it is, right?
I mean, that Expedition 33 thing that you mentioned, like, it's very clearly animated to like shove those feet in your face as well. Like, if you have her as your main character and you like start like the sprint button, she like lifts her foot and points it directly at camera. It's annoying.
It's just weird.
Just
I don't understand why we're doing
Put
that.
shoes on.
I don't understand why we're still doing that in popular media today, making women not have shoes. Like, I'm sure there are also practical people who would like to protect their feet.
It's probably just like because she was kidnapped at some point, so maybe she.
Well, the shoes
I-
slows them down.
oh my god, Jesus.
The only thing that annoys me about this game is that one of the bad guys is called Grumpy Kong, and I figured Grumpy Kong's a little too close to Cranky Kong for me.
Well, I think that's kind of intentional, right?
And maybe it could be that way. And congratulations to them if it is. I'm just saying it doesn't feel right to me.
The bad side of the Kong family,
which is also kind of weird. We've never really had a bad Kong before. Like Cranky Kong.
Well, we kind of had, right? Well, like, didn't we have like Manky Kong?
Well, but the OG Donkey Kong was the bad Kong, guys. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, but okay. Since Donkey Kong Country sort of gave us the expanded Kong family, we've never really had a bad Kong before. So
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. They're called Manky Kong. They were introduced in Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I mean, there was also the
like
Donkey Kong
orangutans.
Sorry, there was the lady Kong with the boobs. I'd say she was a bad Kong too.
You're talking about Candy Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The lady Kong with the boobs. Okay.
I don't remember her name.
Anyway, yeah, I think it looks really good. And it's coming out in like 2 and a bit weeks.
3 weeks.
Almost 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's also my partner's birthday, so
Sick.
Sorry, I'm gonna be playing DK.
Well, I mean, I'm just up to the part of the trailer now
multiplayer.
where they're showing off game share, so you both can play together.
Yeah,
That's true.
And you can play the game on a Switch and a Switch OG Switch if you have the game on Switch too. You can game share to the last gen, which is still kind of
I would say
weird.
Yeah, the co-op mode where like somebody just like blasts gigantic words, fun, but also a bit much. It's a bit visually overstimulating, honestly. It would be so distracting to go through that.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of New Super Mario Brothers U. If someone was playing on the gamepad, they could tap on the screen, put blocks in the game world on the TV. It reminds me of that, just because it's like you'll be running along it on the TV, and all of a sudden a giant red block pops up in front of you. So
I also think it's kind of similar to Super Mario Galaxy, where the second person could like shoot star bits at people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving on. Little Nightmares 3 was revealed as coming to Switch a while ago, and now it's confirmed for Switch 2, which cool. It's coming out on October 10, and Little Nightmares 1 is also getting a remaster, but it's only on Switch 2, which has updated lighting, textures, gameplay, assists. There's just all sorts of stuff. Ben and Namco, they're the people that are in charge of this, right?
Yeah, so they own the IP now.
Anymore? Okay, yeah. So yeah, they're going hard on it. It's getting a book, a comic series, a VR game, stop motion project, probably all sorts of shit. But yeah, is anybody at all interested in this?
I am.
I played the first Little Nightmares a while back.
Good news, they're remastering it, Ollie. You can play it again.
Yeah, I can play it again, which is good because I do not remember a single thing about it.
I've not played any of the other games. Like I've seen them, but I've not played any of them.
Yeah, I've got them on various platforms just by osmosis because they keep getting released for free on like Epic and on PlayStation Plus and stuff.
Yeah,
and they look great. Like, don't get me wrong, there's games that I just haven't gotten to yet, and I've always intended to play them because I do like stuff like Limbo. I do like games that feature a relatively innocent protagonist that are just really dark situations or whatever, like almost child horror type stuff. I mean, this obviously goes further than that, but yeah, they look cool. This looks great.
I'm down for it. And mostly because I just think they're fun, like platformers. They can be scary at times. That's obviously one of the big hooks is that they can be quite, jarring for people. But just tonally, I think they're fantastic. It's kind of a mix between like the Limbo Undead vibe and like a traditional Mario platformer in terms of some sort of combat. The cool thing with this one is it is a 2-player co-op game from the start. So if you have someone you want to play with, you can play the full game cooperatively. So that's pretty cool. The only thing that concerns me is it's not made by Tarsier Studios, who made the first two. This is made by Supermassive Games, who the Dark Pictures anthology people. They know horror. I'm not saying that, but it's just like it's a different studio developing it. So they could do their own thing on it. But yeah, just a nice little thing.
Yeah, I mean the trailer does look interesting. Yeah,
I just pre-ordered Donkey Kong Amiibo, as you were.
Nice.
Excellent. Alrighty. Something actually from Nintendo. Drag X Drive has a release date. So this was a release date that was announced first by Nintendo Today, which, sure, um, that app is a weird place to be announcing stuff like this, but okay. It was then almost like a full 24 hours later when the trailer was uploaded, because you can't capture in the Nintendo Today app. Anyway, the local. What's that? What's that, Luke? Your lips are flapping, but
Sorry.
nothing's coming through.
I had to cough before. You used to be able to capture on that app, right? And then they updated it.
Yeah, they updated it so you couldn't.
Oh,
But
I thought I could
they
still
also
capture in mine.
no. If a video is playing, you can't capture it. So yeah, quite annoying. But yeah. So they also put the release date like in the video. You couldn't like it. They didn't just do that because you can screenshot things that aren't part of the video. So they very specifically made it so that people couldn't screenshot it. It's done. Anyway, the local price for this game is confirmed to be $30. I think it's like $20 US. So fairly cheap overall. And yeah,
The
it's coming out
game-
on August 14.
First of all, I forgot this game even existed until the announce date was
I assumed
set.
up until they started talking about it that it came out and just nobody talked about it at launch. That was just my assumption.
The game looks interesting and like it's obviously really awesome for like representation, but God, does it look fatiguing? Like I can't
Yeah.
imagine playing this for long.
It's kind of like ARMS in that regard, right? Where
Mm.
ARMS was one of those games where it was going to be fatiguing because you had to kind of play it like that. Although ARMS did have an alternate control style as well eventually. But yeah, it's I don't know, it does look fun. I just don't know how much longevity there is when you have to do it like that. I'm
Yeah.
probably not going to buy it, just because I do have disabilities that prevent me from using my arms like that for like more than 10 minutes. Which
Good news,
Yeah,
Ollie. Matches are 3
probably-
minutes in length. You could play 3
yeah,
rounds
but,
of,
like-
of Drive X Drive and you'd be fine. Drag X Drive, sorry.
then I'm like fucked for the rest of the day. I'd rather not ruin myself for a game that, I mean, it looks kind of bland-ish.
The only
I'm hoping that there's more visually to it than what they've shown. It looks like they've shown like one kind of arena and then that's it. And that is super, super bland. It looks like a practice arena, right? Like it looks like the kind of thing where it's like, oh, this is just like the practice thing, and that there will be other ones, but we haven't seen any yet. We do know that there's going to be player customization because we see in some of the trailers there are like characters that have like cat ear helmets and stuff like that. So there is some kind of customization for players as well. But
I mean, I
weird.
don't care about this at all. It's the only thing I didn't play at the preview event is this one because it doesn't look like it's a fun game. Like, don't get me wrong, it's interesting, and as Michael said, like for representation, it's great. But I'm like, I don't want to be doing this to play a game for however long I play for. And they've just not shown enough of it. Every time we see it, it's the same. As I was saying, it's the same stadium. And every single time we've seen this game, it's the same stadium, and it's like that's fine, but it's like there needs to be more. Maybe there's something on a rooftop. Maybe obviously you don't put it on a beach because you don't want wheelchairs trying to go through a beach or anything. But it's like they've not shown enough of this game to make me think there's more going on than just what's here, outside of cat ears on a helmet. And I don't know if that's enough to convince most people to play it, especially as I point out, the whole moving the arms. It's like it's a physically demanding game, and for some games, some players, it's just not possible. So I don't know.
Yeah.
This doesn't
I think
interest me.
somebody floated the idea that like this could have been like a Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus expansion, one of those Nintendo Switch 2 editions that came with a expansion for Switch Sports. And I don't think that would be a terrible idea, honestly. Like if this was just an expansion, like if this was like $20 and you upgrade Nintendo Switch Sports, it gets 4K support, all that shit, and it came with this, like that would be fine, I think. I just don't know, like as a standalone game, like how's it gonna do? I don't think it's gonna do super well.
I'd be amazed if this game reviews well.
Yeah, I mean it does seem to be light on content. I'm hoping there's more to it than they've shown, but you would think that they would show it. It's entirely possible that like at some point in the next month we get like a Nintendo Direct and it reveals actually this is quite a substantial game. But I'm just not betting on it right now, you know. I do think it's really interesting, and I think it's great for representation, and like I would like to play it, but it's just
Yeah.
not super viable
just-
for me.
It's just weirdly ironic that the game is so great at representation, but so inaccessible at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's unfortunate. But maybe, like, who knows? Maybe there's going to be alternate controls that they've not talked about.
Yeah.
So,
Who knows? Angelo, are you going to be dragging X driving?
Probably not.
what about driving X dragging?
Oh, there we go. That's now you got me.
There we
You got me.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'll be interested to see what is actually in the game. And I'll be really interested to see how it sells eventually as well, because I suspect it will, like, it has like a very high, like a very firm ceiling of 1 million copies, and it will not go above that if it even reaches that.
My most curious thing is I wonder which athlete who's in a wheelchair is going to be pulled in for marketing purposes for this game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's an interesting one. This is the first non-Nintendo game to be announced, new game to be announced for Switch 2, after the Switch 2's release, and it is a game from Arc System Works. It's called Dear Me, I Was, which was a terrible name for SEO purposes. It is very difficult to find if you just like slap that into Google. It's probably better now, but when I was first looking for it, it was not. And yeah, it's the first original game announced for Switch 2, because every other game that we've had has been like a Switch 2 version of a game that has already been announced, or just that kind of thing, like an update to a Switch 1 game or something like that.
Yeah, like Little Nightmares 3. We knew that game was coming to Switch. We'd known it was coming for the longest time. Now there's just a Switch 2 version of it.
So the game's art director is Taisuke Kanazaki, who was responsible for the art style and all of the artwork in Hotel Dusk and Another Code. A lot of people who worked on those games, who previously worked at Sing, which unfortunately shut down, now work at Arc System Works. So this is a lot of the people who worked on Hotel Dusk and Another Code. Yeah, it's kind of a visual novel type game. We don't really know too much about it, because they haven't shown too much about it. But we do know that you will be living out the life of a girl/woman. And it seems very, very cute and endearing. I'm super excited for it, and I'm 100% certain it's going to make me cry.
The interesting thing about this one is it's a rotoscoped watercolor game. So everything's been like filmed, and then they've rotoscoped all the parts out and then applied this watercolor look to all the different parts to layer it. That's the only thing that we really know about how they've brought this game together. So it's not like they've just created this look using, polygons or whatever, but it's like A Scanner Darkly, the movie with Robert Downey Jr. in that and Keanu Reeves. It's very much like that, but like watercolor-esque in terms of its visual look. So, which I think is kind of cool. It's
a really, really visually appealing game. I think Taisuke Kanazaki does do that very, very well. The artwork in the past has just been phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? That like of all the games to just like get a Switch 2 release or get a Switch 2 announcement, at least, like this is the first one. And I suspect that that's probably because Nintendo is in some way involved, either with this or another project with Arc System Works, because they were the team that did the Another Code recollection.
It is also a Switch 2 exclusive. I mean, at this time, it's a Switch 2 exclusive, so that could also lead credence to Nintendo doing something with them or with this game. So
it's also like it's coming out super soon, like the next couple of months.
They say this summer. I suspect this is just my prediction. I think it's probably going to be dropped during a Nintendo Direct.
That makes sense.
I think whenever the next Nintendo Direct is, they'll say, by the way, this is out now. Now, I have a theory that this game is going to somehow tie into a new Hotel Dusk series game. I don't know for sure that it's going to happen, but I think that this is going to be a short game that then ends with like fucking Kyle, whatever his name is, Kyle Hyde. Is
Yeah.
that his name?
Yeah, I mean
Kyle
the guy,
Hyde, like,
the
walking
guy
through
in
the
the
door.
trailer looks very Kyle Hyde-esque.
Yeah. But I suspect that this will be. I mean, like, I would be thrilled if it was completely its own thing and it was just like a small experimental story about like the life of a girl. And it does seem very, very charming. But I suspect that it's probably leading into other things. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm just very keen for this.
I will also just call out, I do love when games have unique visuals. Like, this game could have been any sort of art style, but this one, it's like, I don't recall the last time I saw a game that used watercolor in such a way. There was that game maybe 2-3 years ago from Focus Entertainment. They published it. It's Diorigio, or it's Dio Diorigio. Well, I can't pronounce it. It was French. But there was that one. But then prior to that, I can't think of any other game that's had like a watercolor visual to it. So
Skyward Sword sort of did it. That Monet
Yeah,
style thing. It's
different
not
kind of
quite
thing,
watercolory,
yeah.
but it's similar.
You have things like Jesus, this is an old game. The Unfinished Swan.
Exactly what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do people know about that
Greece.
game? I feel like that, like,
Greece is another one.
The game's super cool.
yeah, it is.
that was
I feel like
2012
nobody really
though.
knows. Yeah, exactly. It's like 13 years old. I
Hey,
feel
is
like
it-
nobody really knows about that game.
Is it a
in the modern
PlayStation
era.
exclusive? I can't remember.
I think
Or does it
so.
come out
I
on
think it was
things?
only on the PS3 and PS4.
I think it's on
right?
Steam.
Let's take
I
a
think it
look.
was like one of those pub fun games back when
Oh yeah,
Sony
it
was
is on
injecting a lot of-
Windows.
when Sony was
Because
injecting a lot of money into indie games
PS4,
specifically
PS3, Vita, iOS, and Windows.
iOS.
Yeah, right.
That's wild.
The French
Vita.
game I was thinking of was Doggone. Doggone. Which, strangely enough, isn't getting better.
Unfinished one. This one is on sale right now on Steam for $7.42.
Nice.
Oh,
It's
shit.
a good game.
It is a good game. It's a really interesting concept for a game, and I think they executed it very well as well. I think the
never knew it was
story aspect of it-
made by the same people that made What Remains of Edith Finch. I missed that memo entirely. There we go. That makes sense. That's
Yeah.
why I
There's another
thoroughly
one-
enjoy both of them.
It's another walking sim, right? But you're just throwing paintballs to sort of
Reveal the
illuminate
world.
or visualize your way.
What's that? There's another game coming out. I can't think of the name of it, but it uses pointillism, but you use a gun to shoot. It's a dream. It's from I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Sure.
I'm confused. Luke mentioned rotoscoping with the game, and I'm trying to find more evidence or an interview where they talk about that a bit. I can't seem to find their
It was
method.
it was in the quote on the article, so it's quoted from somewhere.
Right.
It's what Arc System Works said when they talked about when they revealed the game.
in the
Right.
Arc Direct thing.
Yeah, it just says, "Dear Me, I Was" is an interactive adventure that lets you enjoy a story woven with beautiful visuals, fusing the vibrant watercolor style of Taisuke Kanasuke with rotoscoping technology.
Rotoscoping technology. That's such a weird thing to say, but yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. I just feel like with this kind of art style, you don't really need a rotoscope. You just kind of like draw and paint over the top. But whatever, it's cool.
This is why I never
Whatever.
knew it came out on PC, because it came out on PC in 2020. Super late after
Yeah.
Wow.
the release. Yeah,
Also, like, we had a lot of stuff to worry about in 2020. You know,
totally.
it was like there were big things going on. September 10, 2020, we were deep in fucking Tiger King at that era. Like, it was it was not something that
Tiger King
that we
and
would
The
have been
Last
aware of.
Dance.
Mm.
That Michael Jordan doco. That was great.
You know, I
I've not
looked
seen
back,
any of those. So,
Oh man, you're missing out. Both are great.
Dreams of
during
Another.
the pandemic.
Sorry, that's the game that I was looking for. Dreams of Another.
During the pandemic, I got like the way that I connected with people in my life was like by playing Fortnite with them. And then like when I went to do, I did a review for the Switch 2 edition of Fortnite, which is very good by the way. Yeah, so I did that and I was like, oh, I wonder how many hours I have, and I have like 890 hours of Fortnite, because I played so much during the pandemic.
Disgusting.
It is disgusting. But I spent $30 on a skin that made me look like Bob from Bob's Burgers. So, you know, who can really say what the bads of society are?
I mean, look, he's back in Fortnite now. Time is a flat circle, so.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that is coming out at some point this summer.
It's winter for us.
In the US, which is winter for us. So sometime before the end of, sometime before the middle of September, really.
Yeah.
Is what US summer is. Because they don't use logical dividers for their...
They do use logical dividers. They're not simplistic dividers like we use. They do it based on the solstice.
Yeah, which is not logical. That's fucking dumb.
I'm not saying it makes sense, but they don't just pick a random date every year. So,
well, kind of. Anyway, a bit of a funny thing that happened with Metroid Prime 4 this past week. People in London just like went into the underground to catch a train and saw a big sign that said Metroid Prime 4 Beyond out now.
Congrats, guys. Get on it. Metroid Prime 4 is out now. Go download it.
I think legally means that Nintendo has to give us the game.
Wait, are you saying that it got
otherwise...
shadow dropped in a London tube?
Yeah.
It sure did. Yeah. So yeah, it took them about 3 days to fix the giant billboard, which now just lists the year of 2025. It is very clear what happened here. Basically, if you see, I don't know if Vook has put it in the article. Oh yeah, so the key image there, you can see that it's like the Out Now logo is like obviously covering up what should be a 2025 box. And that is just because whoever made these assets, the Out Now thing is in the exact same spot on the Mario Kart World poster that was in the subway as well. So somebody just like forgot to turn off the layer for that asset when they were exporting assets, which is very, very funny. But yeah, obviously it's not out now. Nintendo put out a statement saying that it was an error and that the game is not out now. Which, fucking sure. I cannot believe somebody contacted Nintendo and was like, hey, can I get a statement about whether or not this is true? And it's like, it's obviously not true. You can't buy it.
It's that gaming journal hustle.
Also love the amount of people that were like, but how did the printers and the sign posters not know that the game wasn't out now? And I'm like, who do you think these people are that just have the pulse on every poster that they're putting up and if it is factually true or not? Like, they don't give a shit. It's just another poster to them.
Even if one of those people was a gamer and they were like, oh, this is great news, they don't care. They're not paid to question about what the content of the poster is. They're paid to put the poster up and move on.
I know people who put these kinds of posters up in train stations and shit. They do not get paid anywhere near enough to give a single fuck about whether the information on the sign is accurate. They do not care. They get given a big roll of paper and they have to slap it up, and that's it. That's the extent of their worry about it, is like, can I do this without getting hit by a train? Yes. That's it.
I just came across a great image on the Reddit post of like the Lionel Hutz thing where he's got his business card.
Yeah, it's like, amazing.
Like, yeah, but here it's like, out? No. I'll put it in our chat and someone can put it in the video.
Yeah, it's so good. Out? Question mark? No! Exclamation.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
There we go.
So good.
But yeah, obviously Metroid Prime 4 is not out now, which is a shame. I'm sure we'd all like to play it. But I mean, it'll come out when it's out, right? Like, it's probably going to be like a September-y kind of vibe.
Yeah.
that's what I would expect. We've had our first, well, or not yet. We will probably by the time you listen to this. We've had our first update to the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online app, with Super Mario Strikers, or in Australia, Mario Smash Football, which is a bad name. Yeah, so it released here in April 2006, making it the youngest game to be added to the service on any platform. Yeah, I mean, it's Super Mario Strikers / Mario Smash Football. And a lot of people like it. People are fans generally of this game.
Yeah,
This is also the
probably
first one in the series,
the best
right?
Strikers game.
Yeah, first
It
one in
is the
series.
first one in the series, yeah.
GameCube
Yeah,
was great for
it's,
sports from Nintendo because we got golf and what's the other one they do?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Tennis.
Tennis?
Golf and tennis. We got golf and
Oh.
tennis.
Also tennis.
Yeah.
Was
Oh,
it Mario Baseball? I didn't even know that.
We get those all the
Yeah,
time.
Super
yeah.
Mario Sluggers. It never got released outside of the US and Japan, so we never got
Okay,
it.
so we've had this exact conversation on the podcast before,
GameCube
and I've
did, but
literally
we did
gone
not.
to my shelf and grabbed the Australian version. It definitely did.
I have the Wii Japanese version behind me because I
I'm going to do it right now because I don't trust anyone to remember this again.
Yeah, so yeah, the GameCube Mario Saga is released here because it's one of the one games from Nintendo that has the new that I can remember that has the new rating symbol on it. Because during the GameCube era, we went from the plain white box to the longer extended color boxes. But yeah, they did the GameCube, they did Strikers, and there was rumors of a volleyball one for the longest time. So GameCube, we got a lot of Mario sports games, and then we just sort of peeled
Will
off
this
everything.
get blurned out? Yes, it will. Oh, no, it's not. No, sort of. There you go.
Look, Michael, you can print as many fake covers as you want. That doesn't make.
He's actually got
Oh my
Metroid Prime
God.
4 in that cover.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a Strikers fan. It just doesn't appeal to me. It's just like the dumbest version of soccer. I enjoy playing matches with friends.
Yeah,
but
which is the best version of soccer.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
but this one didn't have any sort of single player options. It was more just entirely multiplayer. The Wii version had a lot more to do outside of playing with friends. So if you wanted to, practice, you could do that. So, yeah, I'm glad that we're this is out on the 3rd of July, I think, from memory. So we're getting a game relatively soon after the console launch, which the console was added to NSO. So I'm glad that they're not dragging their feet on that. But now
My mates
we've
played
got
this religiously when this game came out. We played so much, but this is going to be an awful experience on Switch with the multiplayer and on the internet. So I guess we'll see how it works out.
No, I've used the Nintendo Switch Online multiple. Like when the N64 one came out, we all played a match of what was that? Mario Kart, right?
Mhm.
It was like Yumi and Vook.
Yeah.
So me in Tasmania, Luke in Victoria, and Vook in WA, and it worked mostly fine. We all have good internet connections, so that helps. Yeah, I mean, it is all, like, obviously, because it is all peer-to-peer, and it is, like, trying to sync the games, because that's the way that it works. For those who don't know, it basically just, like, sends data to sync the emulators up to make sure that they're all playing the stuff at the exact same time, rather than, like, streaming it or whatever. So, like, if one game or one internet connection slows down, then it's, like, slows down the game for everybody, which is an issue, but in terms of this kind of thing, it's, I don't know, it's like streaming or this, and streaming I don't think would be a much better experience. So yeah, it's hard to say, but it's fine. I think as long as you have a relatively decent internet connection, then it should work fine. But you kind of have to rely on everybody else having a relatively decent internet connection too. In any case, I will probably boot this up once and then not ever touch it ever again. Which is exactly what I did for all of the other GameCube games so far.
I don't even think
I
I've
did not
actually
pick any
started
of
the
them
app.
up.
I installed it. I don't even think I've actually started the app itself. So, no, I did. I lied. Sorry, because I hooked up the Wii U GameCube adapter to the Switch to dock, and then plugged in an actual corded GameCube controller to see if that worked, and it did. But there's no way of actually getting out of the app on an old GameCube controller because there's no home button. So if you boot it up that way, once you're in the app, you're locked in. You have to grab a second controller to get yourself out of it.
It's wild that 5 generations of Nintendo home consoles have supported the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
Like, that's bonkers, right?
It's
No
nuts.
other console can do that, right? Like,
No.
It's a pretty.
It makes it sound like even Nintendo agrees that it's the greatest controller that they've ever made.
honestly, yeah.
I mean, it's up there. I don't know if it's the greatest. I'm still a bit of a mark for the Wii U Pro controllers. I love those controllers.
Oh, okay, yes. I in all outside of all dumbness, the Wii U Pro controller is incredible.
Yeah.
That's
If they
a
had-
masterpiece.
If they had analog triggers, they would literally be a perfect controller to me.
I still don't get their just
Yeah.
absolute disdain for analog triggers. It's so weird to me.
I know, right?
Considering what they did with the GameCube controller, which they themselves seem to think is amazing, they still don't have analog triggers on stuff.
I suspect it's just because people weren't using them properly, and they were like, "Well, if nobody's going to use it, why should we bother?" Because that's.
I mean, is that true though? Like every
has
other
to be.
console maker uses them. Like it's weird.
No,
The
but
thing is, right,
this is years ago. Nintendo came up with that mindset and just have stuck with it since.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there is exactly one genre that analog triggers are required for, and that is sim racing. And that's it. That's the only thing that they're required for. Everything else can get away with digital digital buttons. Like, it's like, and I think Nintendo knows that. They have no intention of ever making a racing sim, and they don't really give a shit if racing sims come to the platform, so why bother?
You should imagine a Mario
think that's
Kart, but
it.
like
I
a
think
realistic
that's-
racing sim Mario. That'd be insane.
Yeah, I think that's solely what it is. It's like, for their development purposes, they do not give a shit, and I can't blame them for making their hardware, suited to them, because that's obviously the stuff that's going to sell the best and sell the console. But it is, it would be nice to have a controller that has them. But I mean, I also don't play racing sims, so they're fine for every game that I play too.
With GameCube though, I want to call out. So in the terms of games still to come is Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem, Pokemon XD, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon Colosseum. So there's 6 remaining games from their big scroll that they had during the Direct that we're still to get. So
And one of those Pokemon games is almost certainly going to be released in the coming month, during the Pokemon Presents,
which should be at 11 p.m. on July 22nd. According to Nintendo today, the actual thing has a start time, but Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have not actually publicly announced a start time for that show. But in Nintendo today, it does say 11 p.m. for us. Well, for me anyway.
Do you guys think that we're going to get the Twilight Princess GameCube release on this app? Do you think that's the one they're going to give us?
I think it'd be hilarious if they did.
It'll come out. Like, I have no doubt it'll come out because it's a Nintendo property. Why wouldn't they do it? But I hope it doesn't mean that we won't ever see the HD stuff ever. Like, I don't know how Nintendo's brain works at this point. It seems to be so much of a dice roll sometimes. But I have no doubt we'll see it on here. It just makes sense.
The bigger question is, will we ever get the 1,000-Year Door? Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I would argue that it kind of, like, having that on the service kind of invalidates the HD version, because there's no reason to play the HD version over that. And it shouldn't have been a remake anyway. As I've said many times in the past, it should have just been a remake.
I mean, hopefully it gets a Switch 2 patch that unlocks the frame rate. That'll be nice.
Yeah. Would be nice.
But like
Well,
we've
just
discussed, like they've made changes to the way the game works to compensate for being in 30. So I don't know if they'll just keep them like that or they'll make more changes. I don't really know. Although I don't think it'll really matter. It just means that the timings are less tight, which is okay.
An even bigger question is, are we going to get Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 on this thing?
I
When's that gonna
hope
happen?
so.
Absolute S tier GameCube game. Oh, so good.
Like obviously that's made by Factor 5 and Factor 5 is dead. Like it does Disney just have all that stuff? Does that just revert to them? Like I
Well,
assume
so Factor 5 made it under license from LucasArts. So LucasArts are the owner of everything. And LucasArts have everything stored. Anything that's been made for Star Wars is stored. They have one of the biggest collections of things. And I'm not talking about like everything they've produced publicly. Like they've got folders and folders and folders and folders of art that's never been used, but it was designed at some point for something. So
Well, but it's also funny with Rogue Squadron because the original was also released on PC, but the following two were only on GameCube, and that's it.
Yeah. And the second, Rogue Leader, which was the second Rogue Leader, that was the third one. The second one on GameCube, the third one in the series. The multiplayer mode for that was the previous game, just in co-op.
Wait, what? Rogue Leader was the first one on GameCube. It was Star Wars Rogue Leader.
Oh,
Rogue
sorry,
Squadron
Rebel Strike. That's
that's the one.
Rebel Strike. Yeah,
yeah.
you're
So
right.
Rebel Strike is
Yeah,
Rogue
that's not
Squadron
bad.
3, and its multiplayer mode is Rogue Squadron Rogue Leader in co-op mode, which is just insane.
I
And
really
then, of
hope
course,
it does get more life because that game is a technical masterpiece.
It's so
They did
good.
amazing work.
And it's
in
just a
there.
good Star Wars game. It's a good flight sim game as well. It's
and then you've got to remember
phenomenal.
too, Julian Eckbert and some of the guys from Were Factor 5 made a Wii version of those two games that never got released, and it supported like Wii balance board control modes and all sorts of stuff.
Crazy.
I think the question is like, when are we going to get some good GameCube games?
Whoa.
No, I'm not going to play Wind Waker because like I know how frustrating the GameCube version of Wind Waker is
Yeah.
when you get to the end game, and like there's a better version of it, so I'd rather just wait. Like I'm not going to get frustrated with it like I did the first time I played it on GameCube. So whatever. And then like the other ones, like I'm not really interested in Soul Calibur. I'm not really interested in F-Zero. Like.
Oh, so you're the reason they have not made a new F-Zero game in 20 years. Thanks, Ollie.
Yeah, I told them very specifically not to do it.
I mean, Soul Calibur has a huge audience. There are a lot of people who are very excited about Soul Calibur.
Yeah, of course. It's just I'm not one of them.
Great game. It's a great game.
Like there are a bunch of like really fantastic GameCube games, in my opinion, that I don't think will ever come. But I mean, we're also getting Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, which are fine games.
Do you think we'll see the Resident Evil games on the GameCube app?
I doubt it. Like they've already been re-released to hell at this point.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean though. Like why not?
Yeah, it's true.
Because they already like Revelations is always cheap. Zero's usually quite cheap. One.
Yeah,
is
they
quite
usually go on
cheap,
sale
like-
for $15 here in Australia.
Oh, even less. Like, there's no point.
No,
Like,
that's
it'd be
what I'm
great if we
saying.
got like,
Usually.
like, it'd be great if we got some other great Capcom games, like bloody Beautiful Joe. You know, bring those over.
Beautiful Joe would be sick. That'd be amazing.
I would love
Yeah, I
for them
think
to.
that's
I'd love for them to
probably
bring all their
not-
Capcom games over except P&O 3, just to piss off the. I'll just say fans of that game.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I'm just typing in best GameCube games and see what people think are the best GameCube
All right,
games.
give me a hot list and I'll give my
Okay.
ranking if I agree.
Here we go. Ollie's new segment. Ollie hates things that are popular. Let's go.
I hate things that are popular. My favorite games are Pokemon games, and that's literally the most popular thing on the planet.
No, that's incorrect. No one likes Pokemon.
All right. According to IGN's list of the 25 best GameCube games of all time,
Yeah.
Metroid Prime is number one, which
Yeah. Hot.
fair. I get it. We already have that though. Wind Waker is number two.
Yep.
Smash Melee is number three.
You could interchange Wind Waker and Metroid depending on who you are, but those two being sort of tied first,
couldn't.
I would easily say.
I'd agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, number three is Smash Melee.
Will we see Smash?
That's never coming to the
I
app. No
see-
way.
Oh god, it's such a
Smash
hard
1
one.
doesn't even come to the Switch.
Yeah, I think Nintendo doesn't. I think Nintendo doesn't want the competitive Smash community anywhere near Nintendo Switch Online.
Well,
Well,
I
but
don't
just
think
For
outside of that,
various reasons.
I don't
just
think
outside
Melee
of that,
would.
I feel like they just want the latest version of a Smash game to be the Smash game as
Yeah.
well. from a publishing standpoint. I
Yeah,
can see
that's
that.
Smash 64 I could see coming across because it's easy, but Smash Melee has Metal Gear Solid Snake in it, so there is some license. Isn't it?
No, that's the third one. The second one only had Nintendo characters in it. That's we got like Roy and Marth, and we got Mewtwo, and Mr. Game and Watch. Sonic and Snake came in 3.
Honestly, can't remember at this point.
That
Yeah, I
was the
can't
first time
remember
they
either.
branched out of Nintendo.
Brawl
characters.
definitely has them for sure. The
Yeah,
Wii
it was,
one.
It was Brawl
let's see.
because those reviews were
Oh, wait.
insane.
Going right off the edge now. Just completely.
What are the top 10 on the list,
yeah.
Ollie?
Oh yeah.
This podcast
Okay,
going
yeah,
off
top
the
10.
edge. Tell me more.
Resident Evil 4 is in number 4. Twilight Princess is number 5. I would say Twilight Princess on GameCube is a better experience than Wind Waker on GameCube, but that's only because Wind Waker on GameCube is a really frustrating experience. Number 6 is Animal Crossing, which fair.
I would
Seven's
argue
Mario
Animal Crossing on
Sunshine.
GameCube is one of the best ones because it's full of old NES games.
That's true. Super Mario Sunshine is in number 7.
And we know that's coming, right? That's coming to the app.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that we know is coming.
Pikmin 2 is number 8.
It's already on Switch. They're not gonna.
Well, the first Pikmin could be good. I mean, we're getting Luigi's Mansion as well eventually, right? And that got a re-release.
That's true.
So,
Only on DS though. Oh, sorry, 3DS.
Yeah, 3DS.
oh, didn't they get a Wii? Sorry, Switch one?
No, that was Luigi
No,
Mansion
that
2.
was
Number 2.
Ah, right. Yeah, I'm getting confused.
The GameCube one came out on 3DS, and the 3DS one came out on Switch.
Of
Obviously.
course, I'm such an
Keep up.
idiot. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, number 9 is Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, of course. And number 10 is Mario Kart Double Dash, which
Wrong.
Double Dash is a great game.
That is my one disagreement with this top 10.
I mean, it's funny because that and Wii and Mario Kart Wii are the 2 Mario Kart games I could not give any less of an F about.
100% agree.
I will say
Mario
it's funny.
Kart Wii needs to be like unmade. Needs to be Thanos snapped out of existence.
I will say the funny thing for me with Rogue Squadron, the Star Wars game, there is Aspire have brought across a Bounty Hunter, a whole bunch. Basically, every Star Wars game from that era has been ported across the new platforms by Aspire, except for the GameCube exclusives.
The good ones.
There were only 2 GameCube exclusive Star Wars games.
That's what I mean. The good ones.
Yeah.
2? What are you talking about? The Rogue Squadron games?
Yeah.
Are they the only 2?
They're the only 2 exclusives I know.
Okay.
Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy were on everything.
Oh,
Bounty Hunter was
you're
on
right. I
everything.
thought there was another one. I can't remember. My bad.
I will say though, if with all the love that Dash Rendar's been getting lately, like with the new action figure and popularity for other things, I'm hoping that Aspire are gonna remaster, or even Night Dive Studios, sorry, is my pick, to redo a modern update of Shadows of the Empire.
Just throw that on the Nintendo app. That game runs just fine. Plays just fine.
I assume we'll see 1080 Avalanche. That's probably a pretty
Oh, yeah.
slam dunk one that'll be on there.
Wave Race would be
Did
a
we
great one.
get-
Wave Race for sure.
Yeah,
We got 1080 on the 64 app. I'm pretty sure we did.
yeah. I was
Ooh.
wondering about that.
Star Fox Assault, maybe. That's an underappreciated game.
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo just doesn't want anybody to think about Star Fox ever.
I mean, the
I
Wii
mean-
U version definitely made that apparent.
But what if they go real hard with that Rare and Microsoft's love-making deal and bring over Star Fox Adventures? Now we're
Would
talking.
be nice.
Now we're
I
talking.
mean,
That game
I'm-
was actually
I'm
good.
sure they own 100% of that regardless, like because it was Star Fox. So
Maybe.
Will we see the Super Monkey Balls or Time Splitters too?
um,
Time Splitters is
Has
getting a bit of
Sega
resurgence.
put-
So,
Hmm.
I don't know.
has Sega put anything on? Yeah,
they've
they have. 'cause
They've got
there
Sega
was, like-
apps, or a Sega app.
Yeah, or it's not like we're gonna get a Sega GameCube app.
No, but I'm
Um,
saying that
or
they
are
have,
we?
they've got an entire app dedicated to the platform, so surely there's a relationship there for these.
Yeah,
You know
retro
what would be really
apps.
cool? A Dreamcast app.
Oh
That
boy,
would be
Sonic
cool.
that's
Adventure.
never gonna happen.
Heck yeah.
I think people would love Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on there. And Eternal Darkness, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Eternal Darkness is a slam dunk for some at some point. That's got to come.
If they just shadow drop that on like Halloween or something, that'd set people off.
Yeah. Never finished
Anyway,
that game.
before we move on to the games that we're playing, because it turns out I just remembered we are recording a podcast and not just chatting.
I mean, same thing.
Yeah. We did want to talk briefly about the hilarious MIG switch situation that's going on at the moment. So for those who don't know, the MIG switch is basically a flash card, kind of like the old R4 and those things, where you just like load a bunch of switch ROMs onto a cartridge and then onto a micro SD card and then put it in a cartridge that acts as if it's a Switch cartridge. People use them to play pirated games on the Switch one, and Nintendo didn't really do anything about it.
I mean, to be fair, people will say that they use them to play backups of their games, which doesn't really hold any weight when you consider that the backup idea was for CDs and DVDs that got scratched easy. Cartridges tend not to get damaged that easy, but they will always tell you it's for backups.
It's still, it's fine to back up your games, right? But like, that's not what any of these people were doing.
I'm 100% with
like,
you on that. I'm just saying that's what they claim to be doing. So
yeah, like every place where you can buy the MIG switch says, oh yeah, you also get a PDF that links you to like 400 games you can download. So like, it's very clear what it's being used for. Anyway, Nintendo didn't really do anything about it. Wait, go on.
I was gonna say, it isn't like the old like R4s where you can just download a ROM and like it's nothing. Like the game keys are uniquely tied to one specific version of the game. So like, I know the chance of this are very rare that you would end up buying like the copy that is around like the internet, but that can like fuck you over. Like if you put that into your Switch, you can get your Switch banned just by having that game, because that key is now just like dead to the world.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of being banned, while Nintendo didn't really do anything about it on the Switch, turns out they are doing stuff about it on the Switch too. And it was very funny because like people are like, oh, it doesn't work on Switch too. And then the company that makes MIG, which is like a Russian company,
because of course,
like updated the card to like work on Switch too, and then people just immediately started getting banned for using it.
I love that was Nintendo's
like,
idea all along, was like making it hard, and eventually like someone finally cracked it, and then they're like, got him, like a trap.
Yeah, I think legitimately, I think that is literally what they did. Like, I don't really think that's a speculation. That is actually what they did.
It's genius. It's really good.
But yeah, so a whole lot of people who got banned were like, oh no, I only used it for like my own backups. And then like you look at their Reddit history and it's like 340,000 posts in R Switch piracy. And it's like, okay, man, like, what do you expect? But yeah, so it is very funny that this has happened. And it is, to be fair, it's a console ban. You can't go online if your console gets banned. So you can't use online services. You can't download games.
And more importantly, it isn't an account ban. Like your account doesn't get nuked.
It's not an account ban. You can still access your purchases on another console. It's purely just the console that gets banned. Now, some people have been trading in consoles that have been banned through this method. And it's important to realize, if you get one of these, try contacting Nintendo first, because I have looked into this extensively, and one person contacted Nintendo. They were able to show that they had bought it from GameStop in the US on a date after the console got banned. So they had the receipt showing that it was on a day after the console got banned, and Nintendo was able to unban it. So it is possible to unban it if you get one of these, but you can also just go back to the retailer and get another one. It's probably quicker that way.
I'm surprised.
Seems like
Nintendo
an interesting.
because...
Yeah, I think this feels like an interesting scam to be able to get your console unbanned. Because like, does the invoice have the serial number of the device on it? Because if it does, okay, cool. There you go.
But outside of that,
all retailers that sell them officially are required to mark down the codes and shit.
But outside of that, publishers typically
in America, you mean? Because
yeah,
okay, yeah, cool. Sorry, Angelo.
So the publishers typically hate the pre-owned market, right? Because that's money that they don't get. So they got their $700 for the console initially, then it gets banned, then it gets resold, and someone else paid $650 for the console. That's $650 that Nintendo didn't see. So why did Nintendo even bother to unban that console? They have there's nothing in it for them to have done that. So that's interesting to hear that they did that for at least one person.
I'd I'd be amazed if
What's-
GameStop wasn't selling it for $6.99. Let's be real here.
Sure. Whatever the price is.
I think what's in it for Nintendo is like making lifelong customers, right? Like that's kind of the whole thing that Nintendo does. It's like if they can, like somebody has a bad experience and they can resolve it, that is more worthwhile to them than like the $700 because
I mean, for
at the end of the
when they
day-
get the money, sure, but like in this case, like that person did not pay Nintendo any money, so that's what I'm
Yeah,
surprised about.
But the console gets unbanned,
Sure, but, like,
and they can
okay,
start
so-
buying games on the shop, and Nintendo gets
yeah,
profits and
that's
all
the
that.
thing, right? Is that like if they
Hmm.
if you are inconvenienced by it and you have to take it back, like there's a higher than normal chance that you just won't buy a Switch 2 then, right? As you're like, oh, okay, I tried and it was banned and it was like such a hassle, I had to take it back. And then, you know, you're not going to buy any Switch 2 games. If they fix it for you, they know that you're going to stick around. Like if you've already got the console, you're not going to take it back for any reason. You're going to buy games and you know, spend money on the eShop and
No,
subscribe to
I get
Nintendo
what you're
Online.
saying. I'm just saying that it just financially just doesn't make any sense to me that they would do that. I would have more expected them to just be like, well, you bought it used. Your problem is with the retailer. Take it back to them, get it switched, blah 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 blah. Rather than
I get
Nintendo on
Angelo's
their
point as
accord
well.
bending over backwards to then fix it for the person. I'm
That's-
surprised that they did that.
That's the Apple way of doing it. Like the number of times I would take calls from people like, oh, I bought this phone on eBay and it's got this iCloud lock on it. Can you take it off so I can use it? It's like, well, no. It's there for security reasons. The person who sold it to you needs to take it off. So, oh no, but I bought it on eBay.
Yeah, I mean
Right.
that's mostly because devices get stolen all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't think it will always be a thing that Nintendo does. Like, I don't think Nintendo will like. It'll entirely depend on like which service representative you get, right? Like, not everyone's gonna do it. But
In an ideal world,
Yeah.
too, GameStop would actually, pay their employees a living wage, and the employees would, test the console like they're supposed to do, and say, oh, this console doesn't connect to the internet. It means it's a banned console. We can't trade this in. In an ideal world, that's what they'd be doing.
yeah, but that's never gonna happen because GameStop is never gonna pay employees correctly.
Correct. The employees are going to do the least amount of work they can, and good on them.
Anyway, yeah, if you're thinking of playing pirated games on Switch 2, don't do it. You're just gonna get your console banned, and then you'll need to spend another $700 on a new console. Like, just don't be an idiot.
Don't do it yet.
Look, the argument for modding consoles was always to play imported games, but that hasn't flown. Switch was region free, so there's technically
Well,
no...
unless you wanted to play China-specific games, in which case you did need to mod your console, because
for the
China games
12 games that they got or whatever.
no, there's like 39 games that were officially released for the Switch on China.
Oh,
you know,
39 out of what, 18,000 Switch games?
one of them was exclusive. I mean, it's just how it is. Some
Talk
of
about
us
that-
want to play the forbidden Chinese game.
You talking about that Rayman game?
No, that one eventually got a Western release.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Well, I don't know what game you're talking about then.
No, it was like a like Journey to the West RPG thing that sold super poorly, and then the
Don't have 1,000 of
like,
those.
subsidiary, the subsidiary of Tencent that like churned it out got shut down like the day after it came out because it didn't sell. Anyway, I would like to play it, but I'll never get to. That's fine. Let's talk about the games that we are playing. I'll go first because I've only been playing 2. I played.
Shouldn't
and
I go
finished-
first? If that's
yeah,
the
sure,
metric.
Michael, go first. Tell us.
I've been
Tell
playing
us.
no games. I've been busy. You may now go.
Well, if we're just going in order, like Luke, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online, the new expansion that released on consoles. I've been putting time into that expansion for review.
Is it good? Are you
Yeah.
allowed to say? Probably not.
I know it's been out because it's an MMO. Like there's no pre-access to it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a new area of the map. And the big thing with this one is there's a giant wall that's divided the landmass into 2. It's called the Writhing Wall, and it's full of souls. And then in October there'll be a server-wide event where every player on the server will have to come together to do some sort of challenge. I don't know what it is yet. And each server will have to do it themselves. So if the server I'm on completes this challenge, the wall will come down and the rest of the land will open up for us to go explore. But if a server, say Ollie's on, doesn't do it, the wall won't come down. Bethesda are not just going to take the wall down on their own. The wall will remain up until the
That's
challenge
so
is met.
fucking funny. That's such a good bit, man. Like if the people on your server just like don't log in very often or are lazy as fuck, you just don't get to explore half of the expansion that you paid for. That's so good, man.
Was this wall designed
Also-
by Peter Molyneux by any chance?
It's got it's
This
made
is
of
so-
souls, so it's possible.
It's so edgy as hell as well. That the writhing wall, it's made of souls. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right,
What is that?
13-year-olds. Let's go.
The soul,
The, re-
soul
the really
wall.
funny thing, though, is that this is a story continuation from the original story that launched with Elder Scrolls Online back in 2014, and that story had Michael Gambon, John Cleese, and a whole bunch of big Hollywood names voicing the characters. But this expansion has none of them. Not only because like Michael Gambon's passed away or anything like that. It's just they're basically gone, cool. It's a continuation, but it's like, cool. You've not done anything in the past 10 years for that story until now. And they've not done anything to like refresh people's memory about what happened or the people involved with it. So it's just kind of
I
fun.
mean, but out of those two you mentioned, like one died and one got cancelled. So
Oh yeah, but just in terms of like just retreading the story, there's nothing around. So either you have to go back and play a story from 10 years ago, or you have to have a good memory. So I just think it's funny.
soul wall.
Sorry, I've just noticed that like in our document. Sorry, listeners, we're just fucking in our document.
If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, you chose a great episode.
In our document, the new stuff is at 14-point font, and then the games we're playing is at 12-point font.
Disgusting. Guys, the podcast is now cancelled. Thank you for joining us. We're never doing one ever again. I think most
anyway,
importantly, Brigananan is still there and highlightable.
Anyway, the games that I've been playing, I played and then finished and then reviewed Death Stranding 2. What a phenomenal game. I am a Hideo Kojima believer now. I did not super care for his games previously, and I hated Death Stranding 1. But Death Stranding 2 was a really, really good game that I enjoyed a lot. So...
If only people had
A
found
banger
out
of a
previously
game.
that you were playing that game, Ollie.
I know. But yeah, it is...
Is there a character in the game that's like a human knife called Knifey and etc.? Because I feel like that's how
no,
Hideo
but there is a
Kojima-
man who's made out of... There's a man who's made out of tar called Tarman.
There we go.
there's a-
Okay.
But there's also
There's,
Dollman, who I hear is like the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
Is he a doll?
Very, very good.
Or
Yeah,
a man
he's
made of
literally a
dolls?
doll, and
There we go.
He's literally a doll.
He's literally a doll, and he moves in stop motion. He's great. He's so
Cannot make
good.
this shit
And then
up. Just amazing.
There's a character who can make rain, and her name is Rainy. It's phenomenal.
I mean, it's a step up from the previous game where there's literally a guy called Die Hard Man.
Is it Bruce Willis?
No, it's some other old white dude.
And then
No, it's
the,
not white dude. Damn it.
Is he white?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, no,
man,
you're
it's
right.
a-
You're right. I'm
black
getting
guy, yeah.
confused with someone else.
the good thing too is that
And
this
he
game is
uses
also
the-
set in Australia, or part of it's set in Australia.
It is set
Yeah,
in Australia.
that's pretty nice.
Wait, which part of
Um,
Australia?
All of it. All of it. It's the entirety of Australia. And you land in
Okay.
WA and you make your way all the way around to Adelaide.
What? Adelaide? Who's going to
Yeah,
Adelaide?
you go around around the top.
So
Adelaide.
this is
I mean, I'm from
another
Adelaide.
tangent. So PlayStation's official headquarters in Australia is in Sydney. That's where their office is. I know many of the people there; they're great people. But PlayStation also have an office in Adelaide, and that is where the network support division is.
I have
There
no
is
idea about that.
There is a
Do
nobody
they have a
does.
data
There's,
center or
there's a
something? Is that why?
there's a PlayStation development office in Adelaide where they do network stuff.
Must be, yeah, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, the fun thing about Death Stranding 2 is that it's set in Australia, and has a lot of Australian stuff. You can like save kangaroos from bushfires, which is quite nice. And then just like stick them in a...
That doesn't seem too out there for.
I mean, you put
for
them in...
Kojima.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like, chiral infected emus that like can
Okay.
kill you instantly and run at like a mile a minute.
How's that
Which-
different from real emus? That sounds like the same thing.
But yeah, there's a lot of Australian voice acting. It's
But are
It's
they
quite
all the
fun.
same, like, hardcore ochre crap? Or do they actually sound like normal
there's a
Australians?
wide range of accents, and when you go to WA, the people have WA accents, and on the East Coast they have Melbourne accents.
Hold
What does
up.
the WA
What the fuck
accent
does
sound
that mean?
There are different
is that?
accents. There are WA accents. Okay, so
Go.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Australian accents
Carry on your racism. Continue.
I want to see him dig himself out of this. Proceed.
No, it's a well-established thing. Anybody who knows about Australian culture knows that there are different accents in Australia, right?
Mhm.
So they're kind of influenced by like the kind of people that moved there, right? So Adelaide is a part of Australia, or like South Australia in general, is part of Australia that has a lot of British expats. So the accent for South Australia is sort of leaning more towards a British accent. WA, on the other hand, has in the last like 50 years or so had a lot of, and I'm not going to say that everybody is racist, but a lot of white South Africans who came here for reasons that were maybe related to racism. Anyway, that has influenced the way that people in WA speak. And the same is true of like
You
the
guys
East
speak
Coast.
racism, Michael.
Yeah.
Racism
No,
is
it's
my
just like
normal
the-
accent, obviously.
And you know, on the East Coast, they were like very influenced by like a lot of like early settlers from you know, the British Isles, so Ireland, England, Scotland, but also you know, in more recent years, you know, post World War One, there are a lot of Greeks and Italians, so that has influenced a lot of the culture there as well. So yeah, there are different accents. Fuck you for suggesting I'm a racist for saying that there was a WA accent, because there is. But
oh my
yeah,
god.
it's fun to hear accents. I will say the one thing that I don't like is that they will like have a proper Australian accent and then like suddenly just like stop talking like an Australian while they're explaining like how a grenade works. Which like is just
I obviously
it's
didn't
like
pay the
an
American voice
Australian
actor
like,
enough.
no, I mean the good thing is that they are actually all the Australians are Australian voice actors. So anyone who is an Australian and has an Australian accent is a voice actor from Australia, and they did have a lot of help from the PlayStation officers in Australia to you know, make sure that the language that they were using was correct and all of that. So yeah. The one caveat that I have about the Australia thing is that they have absolutely no First Nations people, and it is completely ignored that Indigenous people exist, which is bad. A white American dude from New York gives you a boomerang, and that is hideous. That should not have ever happened, and that should have been, you know, checked and changed. I don't think a white American dude should ever be giving you a boomerang in a game that is set in Australia.
To be fair, though, ignoring Indigenous history is a pretty normal Australian thing to do, so there is that.
That's true. No, I likened it. I'm writing something at the moment about this, and I likened it to the way that George Miller approaches Mad Max, in that like he also does not acknowledge at all that Indigenous people exist. And given how heavily influenced by George Miller and Mad Max Kojima is, it's not surprising that it's happened, but it is still disappointing.
I mean,
Especially
George
when-
Miller's in the game, so
Yeah, George Miller is in the game. He is the character Tarman, who is made of tar.
I thought you said Carman for a second. I'm like, that's on brand for the guy who made Mad Max.
Well, so is Tarman
So-
if he's a smoker.
I've just been, you know, going down the Australian accent rabbit hole because, of course. And one particular regional difference for South Australia was supposedly how you say the word chance. So, if Angelo,
it's
if you can, sorry,
Oh, see,
I'm from
I
South
flip-
Australia as well.
I flip flop.
Yeah,
It's
true.
Chance or chance, dance. I flip flop, depending. The interesting thing is the way that we say milk compared to Eastern States people. I think they say like milk. They pronounce the L, whereas we kind of say milk. We kind of pronounce it like as a W instead of the
Look,
K. Milk.
We already know Angelo says words weird because he doesn't say Oceania. He says Oceania.
Yeah, because that's a bullshit word. Anyway, but like, so like the Eastern States they say like pill instead of pool, or school instead of school.
I
no,
say,
that
I
can
say,
fuck right off. Excuse
I
me.
say pool.
Yeah.
I've
heard a
I
lot
go
of.
swimming in the pool. I go to a pool hall. I don't go to a pool hall.
Peel.
On the news, which is where I get a lot of my Eastern States fuck offery. Like, I hear a lot of like, you know, pollies and stuff from the Eastern States constantly being like, oh, you know, school holidays.
Peel.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no.
that
Yeah,
fucks
see,
me up.
the East Coast is basically just like Kath and Kim, right? Like that's what they sound like.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
I like an
Everyone
hour
else
from where
does.
Kath and Kim lives, and I don't sound like that.
No, but I bet you regularly come into contact with people who do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, see?
Okay, so there you go.
I don't. I mean, I live in Tasmania at the moment, and that's a whole different.
Yeah, but you don't come across people in general, though, except for your partner. You have to look
That's
at.
true. Anyway, yeah, I've also been playing a game.
Oh yeah, games we're playing.
Yeah. I've also been playing the new Tamagotchi game, which is officially called Tamagotchi Plaza Nintendo Switch Edition : Tamagotchi and Me, hey ! Go for it, Tamahiko Town. Which is an incredible title. And it's just like a whole bunch of mini games that are quite fun. That's it. It's just cute. It does require you to have a lot of knowledge of Tamagotchi creatures that I did not have. Because, like, they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, I want you to draw me a picture. And, like, I want fucking Taguchi on my fucking picture. And I was like, I don't know who that is. So I'm, like, frantically fucking Googling this while there's a time limit while I draw this picture to find out what the character is, to select from a list of, like, 600 characters that I need to insert into this picture. Anyway, it can be very stressful, but not as stressful as Death Stranding 2, which is why I'm playing it.
I'm so confused by the
Angelo, what have you
title.
been playing?
Huh, I'm just trying to read the subtitle of that. It's like the subtitle I read out is like Tamagotchi and Me. Hey, go for it, Tamahiko Town.
No, it's Tamagotchi and Me, which is its own statement, and then hey, go for it, Tamahiko Town is its own statement as well. I don't know why they did it like that.
What? All right, weird. All right,
Yeah.
my turn. So,
Actually, what have you been playing? Tell us about your racism.
So Mega Man. But like, so after last episode of the Vookcast,
Well, Ollie cracks open a beer.
Good lord.
Oh my god, this is fucking off the rails. Jesus Christ.
We're gonna have to demonetize this one. But after last episode, we when we finished Nintendo's 20 questions, which was Mega Man 3 spoilers on the Game Boy, I was like, I'm in the mood for some Mega Man. So like within an hour after that, I remembered that I had one of those Mega Man collections on Switch. So I just jumped into Mega Man 1 from NES, played all the way through that, like playing with immediate save stating and reloading, like is a godsend on that game, because that game is like tough as like balls. It is stupidly punishing, but you know, still really good fun. I want to make my way through the series again. I remember I played through the first 5 or something on my Wii like many years ago. But yeah, the collection is really nice. It's got some really cool artwork in there as well, if no one's picked it up. Sticking on Switch, I also last weekend finished Donkey Kong Country Returns, which I've been chipping away at all year. I'd never finished that game before, and I actually really enjoyed it. Some levels in that are also like stupidly difficult too. There are some really tough challenges in there. And I think a lot of the challenge actually comes from the way that Donkey Kong controls in that game. Is a little too slippy slidey at moments, and at first I was cool with it, but then when I was getting through some of these really hard challenges, I'm like, no, this is actually like a detriment to trying to platform accurately, like something like a Super Meat Boy or even a Mario game or something. Like you just try to slow down, you have to pull back, and then he kind of like still slips like, you know, a few pixels across further than what you expect, and that gets a little bit annoying. But I really enjoy that game. That game is so much fun. Don't know if I'll get to Tropical Freeze though. I think I'm happy with just Donkey Kong Country Returns for now. I found out that someone that I work with worked on Darksiders 2 and a bunch of other games as a 3D animated, so that like got into my head that I want to go through the Darksiders games because I hadn't finished the first one when they first came out. So realized that I had that on Steam, so I've been playing that on Steam Deck, which is great to play on Steam Deck, although there is a little bit of like screwing around to actually get it to run with cutscenes. For some reason on Steam Deck, like it's just bugged where when you play the game, like it just immediately jumps into gameplay, you can't see any cutscenes whatsoever, so you have no idea what's going on. There is a workaround, but it's just a bit stupid, and you have to, you know, go into desktop mode to run some Linux commands and download some stuff. But when it works, it works. It's really great on Steam Deck. Runs super smoothly, beautifully.
Mark Hamill's in that game too.
Sorry?
Mark Hamill's in Darksiders. He's the
Oh,
Watcher.
is he? Who is he?
He's the big.
When I heard him talking, I'm like, this guy sounds Joker-esque, and now that makes sense. Yeah.
And he has one of the best lines in that I've ever heard in a game, and he just says, "You're like a dog on a leash." So he says it that way.
Yeah, it's a good game. Knowing that Death Stranding 2 was coming out, I'd also started Death Stranding 1 for the first time with my partner a couple of weeks ago. Really enjoyed that. Got to one point where I got stuck though. I didn't play for a week and then jumped back in after the break and managed to persevere. It's fine. I'm hoping that the second one is a lot better than the first one. The first one has some really aggravating gameplay hurdles, I'll say. Not necessarily the like carrying things and falling over and stuff, just with the whole navigating areas where there are BTs, the stupid ghosts and stuff. Like some of that could just be super tedious, and I hope that they fix that in the second one. Although throwing poo and pee grenades is great fun. I love that. I love that so much. So in the game, like your excrement or your excretions are collected by whatever scientist you're hanging out with there, and he turns it into bombs, which the PTs don't like, which, you know, fair enough. And yeah, when you start actually getting to that point, it gets a little easier. Started Clear Obscure Expedition 33 last night. Really liking that game. I knew I would like. I knew it's getting a lot of good buzz and stuff, but I didn't realize like how stylish, how well presented that game is. Just everything about it just looks really, really cool. And just for the fun of it, I started Space. Yeah. And just for the fun of it, I started Space Marine Mastercrafted, which is the remaster of Space Marine from like 2011, 2012 or something like that. I played it over Christmas on Steam Deck just because I wanted to play through the game again because Space Marine 2 came out, but it was expensive and I didn't want to buy it. But it's out on Game Pass now, so I figured, okay, I'll play Space Marine again, collect all the achievements, and maybe there'll be a sale coming up or something like that over end of financial year or Prime Day or Black Friday, and I'll get Space Marine 2. Anyway, that's all the crap I've been playing.
Didn't Space Marine, they got a fancy version of it, didn't they, the other day?
Yeah, I think that's Space Marine 1, that's the one.
Yeah. So the crafted edition is the new version of it. There was a HD-averted version of it, and there's like a remastered version of it. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the one that I'm playing, and that's the one that just came to Game Pass, I want to say, in like the last week or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can also tell people...
It's just a beat 'em up kind of game. It's okay.
Yeah, I can also tell people too now. I put a good number of hours into Borderlands 4. So that happened at the start of May, but the embargo was like a week and a bit ago. So I can now finally say that I played Borderlands 4.
What a hot mess the marketing on that game has been.
The thing that I really, really like about Borderlands 4 is the grapple hook, which I was making jokes about. Oh, they put a grapple hook in. That's you can now double jump, which you could never do in any Borderlands before. You can also slide. You run and slide into combat and all that. So with the grapple hook, the double jump, the sliding, the ledge grabbing, it actually feels like a real modern shooter. Like you can actually make some really good moves. And because the world's a completely open world, you can sort of run around from one side of the map to the other, and everything just looks good and it loads in fine, nice and smooth. So I'm very, very excited for that one. The only thing too, it is coming to Switch 2. That doesn't have a date yet. Everything else is September 12, but the Switch 2 version does not. And I did ask Randy, and he did confirm that Panic Button is the developer for the Switch 2 version of Borderlands 4.
Wait, did you say that game's coming out on September 12?
September 12 for PS5, PC, and Xbox. And
you've been playing it? What?
No, he played it at a preview.
I played it at a preview event.
Sorry. Okay. I was going to say, it's like 3 months away. Or 2 months away. That's insane.
Yeah, okay. I fucking wish developers would give like 2 months.
Yeah, no joke.
On reviews.
I actually asked him that question because I had a chance to talk with him and Andrew Reiner, who's the creative person for Gearbox now. Andrew Reiner was the head. He was the editor for the longest time for Game Informer. And I asked him, I said, okay, so when will review codes go out for this? And I looked at it and said, because you know about this, like sometimes you get the shortest lead time possible for review. And he goes, I know. He goes, we're going to try and get them out as soon as we can. So we'll see what happens there. But so Borderlands 3 was just like more of Borderlands. There wasn't really anything that differed in that. But Borderlands 4, they've changed a lot. Like one of the cool things is now you can just press a button and you spawn your vehicle. You don't have to go to a point to spawn one. You just press a button and it summons under you and off you go.
That's cool. That was always annoying in the first one, which is the one I played.
Yeah.
Just on the topic of like lead times on reviews, obviously we very rarely get decent lead times. The one time that I got a really good lead time was with Persona 5 Strikers. that they gave us a code for that in December, for a late February release. So they were like, it was before Christmas, so there was like 3 months with that game.
Wasn't
And more developers should do that.
wasn't the review window for us for Monster Hunter on Switch? I can't remember. Rise.
Rise.
Wasn't that like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, it was like 3.5 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean that's pretty insane. Normally it's usually 2 weeks. So
Yeah, and the online worked the entire time. We could just play with each other whenever we wanted to. That's great.
Yeah.
That is very rare. Anyway, Nintendo 20 questions. Luke, you are the game master.
yes,
Captain N.
because I didn't fix any of the video for this. I gotta realign everything. And give me 1 second.
Classic.
I wasn't even thinking about it, so I'll just trim it and then cut to it.
Anyway, if we're gonna dunk on companies for not giving enough lead time and reviews, I got one earlier this week where it was, I'm not gonna say which game it was or which publisher, but it was like for a preview, and then they gave me the code, and then didn't tell me the embargo straight away, and then like an hour later they're like, oh, by the way, the embargo's in 2 hours, are you gonna be ready by then? I was like, no.
That's
I have not even fucking installed the game, dude.
You know,
How would
it's
I
because
get
they're
it running by
expecting you
then?
to stream the game and just do some video stuff rather than actually
Yeah.
do some journalism and
Yeah.
play the game and review it.
I can tell you, I got Onimusha 2, the code for that. I got that 2.5 months before the embargo this year.
Damn, that's good. Oh yeah, no, because they did the preview thing first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Capcom does that.
Occasionally, yeah. And
Yeah.
when they do it, it's so good because you can just like take your time, not have to worry about rushing.
I had like, what was it? The Apollo Justice trilogy. I had that for like 5 months. I completely forgot that I even had it when it came out.
Yeah, they did that with the other one that came out last year or the year before.
Yep.
Because I gave it to Paul, and it's like 6 weeks lead time on the preview, and I reached out to him like a week before, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that," because he had it for so long.
That reminds me, I got a code for Kerbal Space Program on Xbox One back in like 2016 or something. That game never came out in Australia, so it's like a 9-year lead time. Still going.
Yeah, I got codes too, guys. Me too.
Oh fuck! I forgot to mention. Sorry, before I also played FBC Firebreak, which is not a great game.
What a surprise! An extraction shooter that's not good. That's like the default for that genre.
Is Michael frozen?
Yeah, I think my video just froze for some reason.
Like he's holding the same face through that whole explanation. That's great.
I don't know what has occurred.
Please make that the thumbnail for this episode.
All right. Turn off camera.
What a good episode.
Okay, there we go. That's weird. I have no idea why the fuck that happened. It just like decided to freeze. At least I was, had a smiling face and not just like a.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I played FBC Firebreak. It is not a great game. It has basically no tutorials at all. They just kind of like tell you how to use the first menu, and then you kind of have to figure everything else out yourself, which is not fun in a necessarily multiplayer game. And there's like no content. There's 5 different mission types, but like there's only really one mission that is worth doing in any of them, which is like the level 3 one, and it takes about like 15 minutes, and only one of them actually has a boss fight. So I don't know what the fuck they were thinking or how they spent almost as much money as Alan Wake 2 on it, but it's a flop. It has not been performing well.
Is it a new Brink?
I would say it's worse than Brink.
Whoa.
It's clearly sold worse than Brink 2 because there's like 100 people playing it on Steam.
Which is even more hilarious because they gave it away inside of PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah. It's impossible to matchmake into a match right now because there's just not enough people playing.
The Steam reviews. Firebreak is, quite frankly, one of the most boring games I've played.
What a surprise that a company that has pioneered like single player adventure games failed at making a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
It's that service games white rabbit, right? Everyone's chasing it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
see, the thing is, to get return on investment, they needed to sell 3 million copies. That's in addition to the players on Game Pass and PS Plus, and they are not going to sell 3 million copies or anywhere near close to it. I would be surprised if they sold 1 million.
I don't understand why people keep chasing this games as a service dream, because like it is 99% of the time it fails. Like it doesn't work out. Like, stop
But
doing
they're
it. No
they're
one
also-
fucking wants it.
They're 10 years late. That's the thing. They're
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
late on this. And then Marathon. Oh my god, Marathon's another one.
Yeah. Anyway, Nintendo 20 questions. Luke, you're the game master.
I might trim all that out just to make the
This is a
episode
fucking
run.
gas
No,
leak
leave
ass
it in.
episode.
No, for
People
the
need to
audio.
understand.
For the audio needs to be condensed to fit in our time restrictions, but the video is just generally
Fair.
uncut.
Yeah, in the audio, can you cut out the part where I said that Western Australian is a racist as well?
I'll
Yeah.
use
That's for the
AI to replace
patrons.
the word racist with something else like chocolate or something.
No, just keep that for the patrons. It's fine.
Anyway,
Yes, I'm the
was
game
this
master.
game released on or after January 1st, 2010?
No,
Okay.
Is this a 3D game?
no. So let me clarification to that one. Not in the sense of like traditional 3D games.
Yeah, okay. All right.
This game released before the year 2000.
Yes.
Did you mute yourself, Michael? Because whatever you tried to say then did not come out.
No, I didn't say anything. I think I just wiped my mouth. Yeah, no. It's all good.
Yeah, no, your lips were flapping. It looked like you were trying to say something.
Was this game released in the
Um,
90s?
Yes.
Was this game released on a home console?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's a Virtual Boy game.
This is the
or-
Virtual Boy episode.
Yeah, feels like it. Oh man. Do you want to nail down the console? Because it's
Yeah.
probably going to help. Was this game released on the SNES?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. That was the biggest target to hit. Man, there's so many games.
Yeah. Is this game a side scroller?
No.
Cuts it down considerably. Is this game an RPG of any sort?
No.
Does this game use a special chip for the SNES?
No.
Okay.
Was it developed in Japan?
No. And that's 10.
Gee,
Jesus
all right.
Christ. No.
You know a lot about what it ain't.
No. Damn.
Was it developed in Europe?
Yes.
Okay. Super Nintendo game developed in Europe.
Is there like shooting in this game?
No.
Oh god.
For a second,
Got
I was
anything,
confused
Ollie?
why I couldn't hear any music. Because when I did the edit, I put in the Grunty's quiz music, and I was like, I can't hear the music. Why can't? And oh, that's right, because I'm not editing it yet.
Nice.
Why don't you use Swanky Kong's quiz music? That'd be a banger.
I can use that this time. That's
Donkey
fine.
Kong Country 2.
Is this game... Oh god. Is this a sports game?
No.
Was this game well received?
No.
Commercially, it did okay, but critically, it didn't do okay.
Okay. That didn't help us at all.
It was the other way around, right? And it was like super well received by critics, and then just like sold dog shit. Like that would
I think that's normal.
be way more helpful.
How many questions is that?
That was question number 13. So you got 5 questions and a guess to go.
God.
6. Should be 6. First 13.
6 questions, I guess. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant that was question 14, but the 6 to go.
Oh, okay.
My
Okay.
brain didn't do math right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this isn't a question, but like this is a game that we conceivably could have heard of, right? Like that's not. We just like
Oh my
picked
God.
like a random fucking game that nobody has ever heard of.
Look, part of me wanted to pick the Netflix Wii disc because that's how you got Netflix
That
on the
would have been
Wii.
amazing.
God, that would be a.
That's not a
banger.
game.
But we've never specified it had to be a game, and technically you have to insert that into the console, so it does technically mean. But I don't know if it actually released in Australia, so I'm like, well, okay, that means I can't use it. So
It also
But it-
does like technically because it does come on a Wii game disc.
Yeah.
So I guess it is legally a game.
that's what it means.
But then that's also like saying that the Game Boy player qualifies as a game. Because that comes on a GameCube disc.
Yeah, but that doesn't run on its own.
You need the hardware for it. This is something you just slot into the console
Yeah.
and hit play.
Like so many of the SNES games that I can think of, like have a side-scrolling in some variety. They have some type of shooting.
Hmm. Is this game 2-player?
At least.
At least.
The multiplayer game
least.
that 2 or more players, right? Like I don't understand why you would go with 2-player because there were 4-player games.
I went with 2-player because there were only 2 controller slots.
Yeah, and then there were like multi-taps and shit.
I'd never used the multi-tap on a SNES. I didn't even know there were any.
Yeah, like isn't one of the Mana games like has 3-player support?
Yeah,
Right?
3-player.
Has it on Super Nintendo as well?
Yeah, I never played it.
On
One of the
Nintendo
Bombermans.
Switch Online. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was question 15, so you have 4 questions and a guess remaining.
Alright, well, it's a multiplayer game at least. We know that much.
Mm.
And it's not a sport game. It's not a. Wait, did you ask if it was a shooting game? It's not a shooting game.
No, I said if the game has shooting in it.
Oh, right. And it's not a side scroller.
Is it a puzzle game?
No.
Not an RPG.
We said it was developed in Europe, right?
Hmm.
Okay. This is rough.
Yep.
Sure it is.
I did just want to point out too, I said last time to Michael I would pick a really hard one for you guys.
Yeah. We've been on a winning streak, so it's,
Yeah, it's fair.
somebody
We haven't
needs
had
to-
a
Yeah, that's
really
right.
hard one in a while.
I guarantee it's going to be a game that I haven't heard of at least, so. You guys might have heard of it.
It's gonna be so embarrassing when it's revealed to be Donkey Kong 94.
I'll be angry if it is, because it's not technically a Super Nintendo game.
Oh my god, is it the Game Boy player? No.
Oh, I just had that thought. But that's Japanese. though.
One Super Game Boy, please. Oh god, I've got nothing. My brain is like complete blank down.
Hmm.
What
Oh,
genres
is-
have we asked? Sorry, go. You go.
I don't know. We've asked sports if there's shooting in it, if it's a side scroller,
Side-scroller.
and puzzle, and it's
And
none of
RPG.
those.
Alright.
And RPG. I asked if it was an RPG. Yeah. So it's none of those.
None of those.
I was going to ask if it's in a series
Mhm.
or a
Hold on.
still standing. Should we say a still standing series or just a series?
It's doing just a series. Because
Just a
if he asks
series.
still standing and he says no, then we don't know if it's
Yeah.
in the series.
That's true. Is this game part of a series?
No.
Yeah.
It's a standalone game.
Cool. Amazing.
Is this? Have we asked if it's a licensed game?
No.
I don't think so. No.
Is this a licensed game?
No.
Oh fuck me. Okay.
You have
We're
one
getting
question
nowhere.
and a guess to go.
Can I ask if it's a video game?
Well, what if it doesn't have any video? What if it's only audio?
Oh yeah, it's just Zork.
There was a show at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World, where the whole thing was Drew Carey accidentally swallows a microphone. He's trying to be undercover and he swallows the microphone, so the video cuts out and it's just audio for like 11 minutes. It's just like a surround sound audio experience. So
Nice.
Is it that?
Oh god.
Wow. That's I'm a Super Nintendo. Oh my god.
Oh, that's so good.
I don't think Drew Carey was a name back then.
Oh god.
I didn't even ask if
What
we've mentioned the game, but we haven't even mentioned any games.
Yeah, because all the answers have just been no.
Got no clues.
We haven't got any like definitive things. We haven't even found a genre. I'm amazed we got SNES so fast, to be honest. Okay. Can I ask if it was only released in PAL regions? Like it was like a PAL exclusive.
Yeah, go for it.
Well,
Okay.
GG boys.
Yep, that's it. Reveal it. We got no idea. I give up.
Yeah, I've got no clue. This is
We've
hard.
got nothing to go on.
Yeah, literally no information. Well, no information, but like so much of it was like no's, which hasn't really gleaned us any like good info.
I mean, you can throw out just a random game name just to make a token effort. That's fine.
It has to be made in Europe.
Can't even think of
Exactly.
games
Yeah.
made in Europe.
I mean,
Cannon.
like-
Oh no, that's like Cannon Fodder, but that has shooting.
Banjo Kazooie.
But the
On the
Super
Super
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah, the Super
I
Nintendo
don't fucking know. We
Banjo-Kazooie,
don't have anything else.
the back port of Banjo Kazooie.
I went back in
Yeah,
time
give up.
and made them.
I don't want to get in.
Okay.
Reveal
Super
it.
Mario. That's my guess.
Released in
The original
1994.
Sorry.
Released in 1994, developed by Vivid Image and published by Ubisoft. This game was
Okay.
marketed as a crossover between Mario Kart and Street Fighter, where characters would race around a track and punch the opponent drivers as they went past. The characters in this game were called things like Surf Sister and Frank Einstein. I mean, Frank and then Einstein. This game is Street Racer.
Street Racer.
I don't like
Street
it.
Racer.
I don't like this.
It was made for Super
Yeah,
Nintendo,
everyone's furiously googling it.
Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Game Boy, Amiga, and Windows.
I vaguely
Yeah,
remember the
okay,
cover
okay,
And I
art, but
bet the Amiga version sucks ass. Like, there's no way that can be good.
A sequel was in development by the developers, but the guy who's leading it decided he was done making games and just quit, and the development of the sequel stopped.
I'm watching some
Wow, but
gameplay
they
clip,
very-
and it's like mode 7, but one guy looks like E Honda in the fucking cart. And I'm
yeah,
like,
he's on the cover as well.
They very specifically did not use a chip. It says here on the Wikipedia page, newcomers to the team, twins Tony and Chris West, spearheaded the development and were able to use their coding skills on the 4-player mode to bypass the need for the Nintendo's DSP chip, saving $3 per cartridge.
Which is why when Michael asked if it used a chip, I was like, hang on, I remember reading about a chip. And then it's like, no.
The exact opposite of using
the exact opposite, yeah.
So I saw this game. I had vague recollections of it at a place called Dragon's Lair, which is like my local video game rental place. But I saw this game in Japan a few years ago, and I saw the name, and I was like, that looks like the Street Fighter logo. And I don't remember them making a racing game. And then I looked at it and went, oh, it's like the Chinese knockoff of Street Fighter, but a racing. And that's when I sort of dug into it, found out that it actually is a Ubisoft game.
There's a soccer mode where you play soccer. It's like fucking Rocket League.
So it is a sports game. There we go. It's not our fault that we got it wrong.
Yeah, because I'm sure that
It's Luke misleading us.
that would have been all the difference. You guys knowing that this game had a soccer mode.
It straight up just like is like Mario Kart.
It's
but
Mario
you
Kart
can
more
punch.
closely resembling Road Rage.
Yeah.
Or Road Rash, sorry, Road Rash.
Oh,
Yeah, Road Rash.
it looks fascinating.
I look forward to never playing it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for that, Luke. I believe I'm next, so I'm gonna find something to punish you. No, that's fine. Alrighty. That wraps up this episode of the Vookcast. Another long one where if we all had gas leaks, that would explain a lot. Be sure to visit the site www.vooks.net for all your Nintendo news, reviews, and everything in between. Keep up to date, follow the site on Blue Sky at vooks.net or jump over to our Discord at bit.ly/vooksdiscord. You can find all of our social information, links to all the stories covered in this episode in the episode notes on whatever platform you're listening to. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next show.